What's going on, people? It's Mr. Back again, part 2 of the podcast. I hope everyone's fit and well. And the name of the title, Nottingham Forest have signed at last. I don't know how long it's been. We've been talking for. Des is happy. Everyone's been talking about it. And yes, Forest have clinched the signing of Morgan Gibbs White for a club record of 25 million plus add-ons that can raise to up to 42 million. But it's something that we've got to, I think it's European football, blah, but we signed him. I've got some guests on. I've got Des on, but Des, how you feeling?
I'm good. The one I've been waiting for. Really excited. Can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah. And we've got the man himself, and he's in backstage. He's having camera problems. What is going on?
I think the kids have been on the laptop. I don't know.
Turn your phone, Motlo. Turn your phone.
Turn it. Oh, that way.
Yeah, that's it. Upside. You know?
Oh, no.
He's a nightmare. People get in the comments. Get up, Motlo, for doing all this nonsense, right? So people, they say, hey, give some love to Des and Motlo. And what's your feelings about the signing of Morgan Gibbs White, people? Before we do start, you know the rules. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and as well, people, how you feeling about? I think it's a 16th sign. I think it is crazy. Right, first, get the next to me. Got the man himself, Mr. Do Daily Des. How you feeling about Lou signing?
Oh, absolutely fantastic! Like I said, really excited. Can't wait to get to Everton tomorrow. Of course, the one I've been really looking forward to. So, yeah. Hope he comes on and plays. You know, when we get to see him in action, I've been raving about him enough. So since almost walking out of Wembley and who we were talking about, I've been shouting for this one. So definitely looking forward to it.
Molo, how you feeling about him?
I'm just pleased because he's obviously a good player, but I think more so Steve Cooper's first choice, wasn't he? I think getting his first signing, get that contract signed, Mr. Cooper, now, because he's got what he wants and what, you know. Don't see how he gets in the team tomorrow, though. He'll have to bide his time on the bench tomorrow for sure if he's eligible.
So as you know, he's a 16th signing, and we've got 7th signing. But that's what we'll talk about later on in the show. But before doing, we're going to go through the comments, and there's quite a lot of people that have been waiting. I've got a member. This is not the David Johnson, the ex-Forest player. This is a different David Johnson. So David Johnson, thank you for being a member to the channel. If you can email me, David, or through Twitter or Instagram, please do. So I'd like to get you on the show for being a member. And if you are a member and you've not been on the show, I will try and get you on, because like I said, Des does a show on Monday. So if you do want to come on the show, people, like a little 5-minute, 10-minute talk, please do. As well, and I've seen another. This is from Kieran. Thank you for the £1.79. Okay, who's late this time? I hope it's not Des. No, it wasn't Des. It was the guy from down here. The Marlow, the man, always late too.
You don't know how stressful my last hour has been, but I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
He's here. That's all it matters. He's here, and that's all it matters. People, so like, we're gonna start with, like I said, Morgan Gibbs White, 25 million plus add-ons. Des, it's at last, Des. How are you feeling about what's happened, and what can he do for Forest?
Well, I've already said how excited I am. I think as much as that as well, there's a little bit of relief there, isn't there? This one's been rumbling on all summer. You know, it's been on, it's been off. People have forgot about it, but one or two of us have harboured the hope that it would resurrect itself, and it's all happened very quickly in the end, doesn't it? You know, from going a bit quiet after the after it all kicking off a couple of weeks ago, looking like it was going to happen, bids and numbers being spattered about all over the place. Finally, they obviously got down to the table, got down to it, and got the business done. It seems that Morgan Gibbs White wants to play for Cooper. That's given us an advantage over possibly one or two others, including Everton. So that's fantastic. That already, you know, Cooper's influence is having an impact on signings where they've seen what he can do in this country. Obviously, Gibbs White spent a lot of time in the Championship. He would have come up against Forest teams. He's worked with Cooper as well in the past, of course. So that's probably a major thing. And the fact that he just wants to come, somebody who's so high profile right now, you know, really wants to join us. That's incredible. You have to bear in mind that he's left his boyhood club to join us as well. And we're not Manchester United. We're not Liverpool. We know what we are, you know. And he's also turned down another massive club in Everton. Yeah, they're having the tough times, but there's no saying that us and Everton won't be fighting it out throughout the season. So I think it's just really sort of intriguing that he wants to come to Forest and players want to come to Forest now in the main. You know, everybody's talking about the atmosphere, the direction. You know, Lingard was a massive statement. Backing it up now, for me, backing up Lingard with Morgan Gibbs-White and perhaps the guy from Lyon and Foyer and one or two others makes the Lingard signing even better. Because it's not just let's go and spend a lot of money on one guy, you know, and almost hang him out to dry if it don't work. Now we're building the team, aren't we? We're putting really good players around him. Do you know that front line when it's on song? Johnson, Lingard, Morgan Gibbs-White. You know,
we've lost count, Des. How many midfielders have we got?
It sounds absolutely fine, doesn't it, in terms of attacking players. And that's why I've been really, really excited about it. And the one thing with Morgan Gibbs-White, I said it from the very first moment we started talking about transfer targets, is I can imagine he just fit into the Forest mentality right now. You know, a youngish player, young guys around, young, cool, hip guys, you know, who want to go out and play football, but also want to be young, want to be exciting. And I think he just slots straight in, a bit like Williams. You know, we spoke about these two and just fitting into the setup there. And I think that's what we've got with Gibbs White, haven't we? Somebody who can just slot right in. He's going to have an idea of Cooper, but over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure Cooper's going to instill into him the way Forest play and what Forest are all about.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you want to echo what Des says?
Yeah, 100%. I just think he's got I mean, Des alluded to it about that front line, and we don't know what that front line is going to be over the next couple of sort of months, as it were. There's competition for places, but what's going to be nice tomorrow is looking at what our bench could look like. You know, if we're drawing going late into the game, or if we're hanging on, or whatever, we've got attacking options, we've got midfield options. Obviously, depending on injuries tomorrow, we've got quality. I mean, Cook came off the bench at against West Ham, settled things down. It's like every area of the team now there's options, and you know, I don't know why, but some idiots would give Jono a little bit of stick for his start to the season. I actually thought second half at West Ham he was really good and really dangerous, but those options now free up the likes of Jono to do what he does, and hurt teams with his pace and his finishing and his bits and bobs that he does. But I'll just Gibbs White, I mean, he's got the number 10 shirt, hasn't he? And if he gets that position, because we know that Jay Lings can play anywhere across the front three, can't he, and hurt teams. So it's just so exciting. I mean, what's your front foot tomorrow? But for a couple of weeks' time, when things settle down, it's madness. And the money involved. Who would have thought? Watching Sky Sports, second top spenders. Was it fifth top spenders in Europe? You know, when we got promoted at the end of Wembley, I was thinking, can't wait. Hope we can compete. Hope we get some good players in. Gibbs White was one we all talked about, to be fair, from day one, wasn't it?
Yes.
He'd be one we'd like. We've kind of gone out and bought, not quite, apart from maybe Brereton, the cream of the crop from the Championship as well, haven't we, really? So
100%.
Buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Can't wait for tomorrow. Get up to Everton, find somewhere safe for my car. Happy days.
Marlo, don't say that because I'm panicking just going to Everton. But no disrespect to Everton people. If you are watching, there's no disrespect. People, there's 231 people. Thank you for everyone taking this late show. Like I said, I've had another show. If you've not watched it, make sure after this you watch it. I had the Everton fan on talk about the game yesterday. Des, and there's a lot of people getting the comments involved. Like, 25 million plus add-ons. What's your opinion on it? Because like I said, it is a lot, but as you said, Cooper wanted him. And Marinakis has stuck to his word and done it. What's your opinion about that, Des? And people in the comments, what's your opinion as well? Get involved. I want you to get involved as well. So, Des, what's your opinion about it? I'll get Bob Smaller soon.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? Full stop. But that's the Premier League. You know, that's what it's going to be about now. Every year, if we stay in this thing, we're going to be breaking our transfer record. If Marinakis is true to his word, which I'm not questioning one bit right now, we're going to keep smashing our transfer record, and it's going to be eye-watering at times. Do you know, it seems a lot better than we initially thought. We were thinking 40-odd million straight up, or whatever way it was painted, 35. Now all of a sudden it's 25 and it's possibly 42 million. But the one thing about the 42 million is, if it does get to that, the guy's been a real success. You know, the guy's been a real success in a Forest shirt. If it gets if it gets to 42 million, you know, I think there's 5 million if he plays 20 games, 5 million if we stay up. Do you know, if he scores the goal that keeps us in the Premier League, it may
worth every penny.
It'll be worth every penny. I think he's worth every penny.
Right, pay your bill.
If you watch footballers, if you watch football quite a lot, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's Championship or Premier League. You know, if you can pick a footballer, you can pick a footballer. And I put every single bit of faith in Steve Cooper to go and pick a footballer, because this is some guy that we all wanted, we all raved about. He's caused us real trouble in a team. I don't want to be disrespectful to Sheffield United right now, but in a team that weren't particularly good. You know, he carried them at times. He had one or two decent players around him, really sharp, and Sander Berg. But you know, he was their main man. He was their talisman last season, and he was carrying them through in games when really they shouldn't have been getting anything. So again, if a guy can do that, whatever league they're in, they're worth a stab at the big league. You know, this guy's come from the Premier League, gone down. Whenever we've seen him, we played him 4 times last season.
5.
Was it 5?
Yeah, 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah,
5.
5 times.
He played for Wolves when he beat us 4-0 at the start. He scored.
No, I remember that one. I forgot that we played him twice in the playoffs. We played him 5 times, and he did the business in every game. And that's consistency. If you go scouting a player 5 times, you know, and he plays well every time, you're going to go, this guy's worth a chance. So I've got no qualms about the feed. You know, when I spoke about this on the show I did before about Morgan Gibbs White, and I really sort of built a case of why we should sign him, and people was coming back saying the money is ridiculous. Like I've said from the start, the money in many ways has nothing to do with us, is it? It's absolutely nothing to do with us. It's a business decision. It's what goes on about behind the scenes. Most transfers these days are undisclosed, so it doesn't really matter as long as we get to support great footballers. That's what we want. You know, last season we had really good players that would have cost us 15, 20, 25 million to go and sign. But we wanted to get better. And we've not spent much more than that. And I feel we're getting a lot better, a lot more for our money, with a lot more prospect and a lot more ambition. You know, I think there's a lot more within the players we've actually signed. And commitment, of course, commitment to the cause, because all these players have signed for Forest. And that's what's key now. Don't get me wrong, the guys who came on loan last season did an absolutely amazing job, showing how committed they were to that cause. But when it comes to the big clubs sniffing around, 1 or 2 of them, you know, they've just disappeared and they've gone off and done different things. That's fine. We've moved on as well. We need not to get bogged down in that. But what we've got to understand is, if we want to compete with the big boys, you know, we're going to have to spend some serious Wonga. West Ham signed that forward from Italy. And you shouldn't judge on one game. 35 million, he looks crap. I'm telling you.
You shouldn't judge on one game.
Yeah, but just as you can pick a player, Mollo, sometimes you can pick a bad one. We all knew when Diakarby kicked it out for a goal kick, He was very good.
Why you mentioned Dean Carby, man? That was a pass, man.
But that's what I'm saying. So somebody he'll probably going to score 50 goals this season and prove me wrong. But I think with Morgan Gibbs White, I think it's been there for everyone to see. And when people have played it down, it's just a bit of worrying, a bit of, he's not going to come to us anyway. So that they're almost getting the backs up. We seen it today, Dore. Everyone coming out of the woodwork. I knew he'd sign. Yeah, whatever.
Isn't the add-ons the last 7.5 million is if we qualify for Europe?
Yes. So that's what people. That's what I think it was. Not Athletic. It was someone else. I don't know who it was now. The last add-ons if we get to Europe.
Yeah. So either way, it's win-win, isn't it? Because we're either not paying out that, or we're playing in Europe. But let's hope. I mean, I'm sure he won't, because like Dev says, he's too good too high a quality player. But let's hope he doesn't do what Arthur allegedly did and gets all the promotion bonuses and the big contract and the year exchange on the back of everybody else.
Exactly.
But no, that won't happen. He's too good for that.
For 42 million.
Say again.
I didn't ask to sign
That's
for
one way out of finance.
I don't know if you know, Olympiacos are saying Harry Arthur for 42 million. That's what we're hearing. But I think it was.
Yeah, that's someone putting out the banter, aren't they? About
someone put a banter on. Listen, if
Olympiacos not County last year, bless him.
If Olympiacos wants to sign Harry Arthur for 42 million, go ahead. Harry Arthur, I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm not trying.
Can you imagine the Olympiacos fans? They're annoyed enough as it is, aren't they? But imagine that.
I think next week I'm on Olympiacos channel next week, and they want to talk to me about how they're going crazy. So I can't. I'm not looking forward to it at all. Right, before let's say I'm looking for the comments, and this is missed in from rolling in. 1 year ago, we bottom of the championship with Chris Hughton. Who would have thought a year later we were club record signing and in the Premier League? How 12 months? It's 12 months. This is mad as well. Shout out to Dave as well. Dave's saying exactly the same. On Sunday, exactly 12 months since we disgraced this play at Stoke. How far comes in the short space of time? Dave, why did you have to mention Stoke away? I was watching. You know what? It's funny enough, right? I was at my sister's house and I was looking back on that game. I was looking back on a podcast. I don't know if you remember, Des. It was you, me, Dylan, and what's his name from Birmingham. From Birmingham.
Oh yeah.
I was watching that podcast and it was a disgrace. I think everyone was just depressed. Everyone was depressed. And right now, we're doing a podcast now. We're talking about we brought in the expensive player in Forest, not Carvalho. He's gone now. Morgan Gibbs White, and no disrespect to Olympiacos, he can't get in the Olympiacos team now. So that's how far we've gone of being a club. As well, I'm looking for little comments as well. This one's I just hope we don't bring back Angler to Link Club. Well, we can't, but we well that count on 5. Oh, it's unbelievable. So it's not really good.
Like top 7 or 8 now, isn't it, for Europe?
Yeah, top 8. You know what? If we get 8, I'll be happy. So I can go on tour. I'll be so jolly. Quality for Europe, Moggs and Moggs is White playing for Liverpool. You know what? It's still, how old is he? 22?
Yeah.
He's 22. So that was a matter as well. Alex, 1999, thank you for watching. Money absolutely matters when budgets are considered. I pro Moggs is White, but if every spending on one player perverts you from going out and getting another, then that's a problem. Not the case here. OFC. What team's that? Is it Oldham? Oldham, I said. Look what like I said. I was watching Talk Sport, and fair play to Simon Jordan, right? He wasn't slagging Forest off. Martin Keown was. He wasn't going crazy on Forest, but like I mentioned, 12 months ago, we were bottom of the league at Stoke, and now we spend £142 million. Fifth richest, most overspent team in Europe. Des, what's your opinion on it? And as well, people in the comments, get your opinions on it. Like, it's just mad, isn't it, Des? Mad.
Yeah, and like your last comment said, it might have been alluding to a comment I made about it doesn't matter what money's spent. It absolutely does matter because we don't want to do a derby. But at the end of the day, we're not football fans to worry about that. You know, whatever we do does not change the way the football club is going to spend money, and who they're going to buy, and who the manager wants to buy. Do you know, we know this is Steve Cooper's man. That's the most pleasing thing in all this for me. Do you know, modern football is modern football. I'm not throwing any accusations out there about who signs players. Do you know, some are signed by the manager, some are signed by the scouts here and there, and some are signed by the chairman. That's just the way it works. It's been happening for a very long time now. But yes, we have to sort of make sure that the club's all right, because we're the ever consistents, aren't we? We'll be there long after Marinakis, Cooper, Morgan Gibbs,
office manager.
We'll be the ones still supporting, you know, and that's that. So it's important to have a club that's sustainable. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, the chairman stood on the council house. I call him the chairman. The owner stood on the council house in Nottingham and said, "We need to rewrite our own history." If he's saying that and he's going out and we're relying on what the team that got us promoted, who everybody's of the consensus now that wasn't good enough. You know, there was some sentimentality there. We were living in hope that this team was going to do what Gary Birtles and John Robertson did and storm through the league. It wasn't going to happen, was it? You know, so we've been convinced by all these new signings. We've got to see them. And again, it boils down to if Steve Cooper feels that this is what's needed to keep us in the Premier League, you know, I wholly trust him. I think I'm right in saying he's been in the job 51 weeks today. I think it was the 26 last year. And so
September. Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was. It must have been, yeah.
So I think I'm right in saying that. I don't know the dates for sure, but 51 weeks, what a turnaround. And we were talking in a group earlier, in a text message type group, and I was saying the thing is, these people can say what they want. Simon Jordan, Martin Keown, whoever, they can say what they want because they've not seen what we've seen. And if Steve Cooper is a unfashionable manager and Forest can't do it, well, they're in for a surprise, aren't they? Because he can do it. I'm not saying we're going to finish top 4, top 6, top 10, top 15 even, but he's going to get teams out there competing. What Forest did last week was go out and fight for it. Players fighting for the shirt. We had to dig in. You know, that game could have easily been a 2-1 defeat in reality. But he got the team out there. And what he's got the knack of, what Forest got the knack of, you know, when everybody's on board, right down to the fans, is getting the result. We all walked away with 3 points. We didn't lose very often last season, you know, and it was a bit of a shock when we did. It was a bit of a hard one to take. We accept that that's going to happen. Newcastle, nobody got on the club's back. And I think it's just it's easy for these pundits sometimes to sit behind. Gary Neville made a comment, and I quite like what he says normally, but he said, it's lazy to predict that Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth are going to go down. And then he said Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth are going to go down. You know, and I thought, well, that's lazy, isn't it? Because you've done no research into what's actually happening at these clubs. I think all of them have got a
changed his tune today, hasn't he?
Pardon?
Gary Neville changed his tune today and saying that Forest had to rebuild and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he's kind of saying...
That's what they tend to do, don't they? Because if they speak enough shite, you know, they brush over whatever has been said before. And you'll see them all change the tune. We've seen it with Holloway, didn't we? Holloway was hammering Steve Cooper for taking the Forest job.
And Simon Jordan did. Simon Jordan did it as well, and he changed his tune today as well.
Exactly. And we know how it worked. It's a process. You know, I keep reeling out this line, trust the process. But it's a process where the players come in, they work extremely hard into a system. You know, they're working for a guy who's got amazing similarities to the greatest manager ever without the same arrogance. I love this thing about not looking too much at the other team. You know, who said that before? And I think, what a way to approach it. You know, Cloughy said football's a simple game made difficult by fools. You know, he was spot on, wasn't he? Because all we do here, we work off what we do. He's got them young players, that system, you know, letting the hierarchy do what they want to do. You're not going to stop Marinakis doing what he wants to do. Whether Simon Jordan says it, Steve Cooper says it, or me and you say it right now. If Marinakis is going to do something, we all know he's going to do it.
Exactly.
So I think
you say go back to your
rude awakening, aren't they? They're going to be in for a rude awakening. Just going back to the start of your point, all these pundits, I can't wait until they're squeaking that. Oh yeah,
going back to your point about unfashionable, it might be the case in the Premier League, but I noticed QPR have gone for a young coach with a great coaching pedigree who was in the Liverpool academy. It's almost like there's a blueprint. Maybe we could try that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, there is Wolves tried it, didn't they, with a Portuguese type manager? Did own all the Portuguese?
I don't even know the guy's name, but I watched a piece on him on Sky Sports about. Interesting hearing QPR. Oh, it's interesting in QPR going for a young coach who's come through the Liverpool academy system as well, and Chelsea, I think, as well, but similar to what Cooper did. But
Blackpool did it, didn't they, Molo?
I mean, they'd be stupid to underestimate Cooper.
Blackpool did it with Critchley.
Say again?
Blackpool did it with Critchley, and it doesn't
necessarily I think
work.
Before I come in, I don't know if you lot know.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean, but it's almost like they've looked at what's happened.
I don't know if you lot know, and I've seen it on Twitter.
Oh, sorry.
Yesterday. You know when Crystal Palace got promoted, and people might know this. Did you know? I don't think they spent 140 million, but they brought in 15 players in. I don't know if someone saw it. They brought in 15 players in, and no one had a go at them because we brought 15 players in, and we spent so much. And now look at Spurs now. They've cemented their place in the Premier League. No one says a word about them. So, because now, like I said, it's crazy. Now we brought in more Gibbs White for 25 million plus add-ons, but we're here to stay. Right, I'm just going for the comments. Shout out to Bears from Canada. How are you doing? As a fan base, we need to be patient this season. There'll be more losses than last season, more games with Forest and out class. Stay up in his mission. Mission 2 is climb up the table 100%. I think that's what it is. With the like, if you look at it, if we get a point away from home, then it's still a good thing for us. So I won't complain about that as well. I'm looking at.
I think Gibbs White was tempted to sign for Lampard.
Listen, I've seen that. I think it was Everton made a late bid for him, trying to spoil it.
But it's like Des said, and the more we read, a lot of these players talk about their conversations with Steve Cooper, don't they? And as much as I love it being our club and we want to come to Forest for the atmosphere, which is great, it's the conversations with Steve Cooper that seems to convince them. And he's obviously laid out his plan and what their part in it can be, and they're sold on it, aren't they? I mean, Jesse Lingard said it, didn't he, clearly? I've read something Mangala said it, and what a player he looks, by the way. I've never heard of him before, but fair play. And you just think the Steve Cooper factor is huge. And going back to the about signing Gibbs White, it's 25 million up front for a player, but it could well also cement our manager's contract and signature. And I think then it's cheap at the price if you look at it that way.
100%. There's 298 people in. Thank you for everyone for taking part and watching this. If you can do me a massive favor, I'm on 66 likes. Hit the like button if you can, please. Get me to 100 likes. Make sure everyone subscribe to Do Daily as well. Des' link is in the description as well. Make sure everyone subscribe to Des. And we're missing Ellie, man. I know Ellie's been busy on the radio. She's always everywhere she goes, man. So Ellie will be back on the show as usual because she's a busy person. Right. I think we're going to talk about the team, man. Like that, Morgan Gibbs White's arrived. I've lost count on the midfielders that we've got. There's like Morgan Gibbs White's come. If we play the same formation that we've played for the last 2 games, who are we going to take out? That's the problem. It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have. I'll pick in the comments. Who would you have in that? We can play like a 4-3-3, 4-2-4. Is it 4-3-4-1-2? The thing with Cooper, this is what I love about Cooper. And this is the problem with Limucci had, Chris Hughton had. They had a plan A, but they just didn't have a plan B. And that's what Cooper has. He can do plan A, plan Z. Des, what? It's a fantastic problem to have in it, Des.
Absolutely, and I'm glad it's Steve Cooper's. Now we've got what we want.
Oh, exactly.
You talk about plan A, B, C, D, Z, whatever. The thing is now he's got alternatives with a much smaller squad. We all know Cooper likes working with 20 players. And it almost seems like that's what they've got. Two teams, basically, and then there's going to be one or two of the players sort of from last season who for want of a better term, bench warm. Because the bench is so big this season. But he likes to work with that. The Premier League squad is probably a little bit bigger than he wants to necessarily work with, because it's about keeping people happy and part of it, isn't it? So I think his personality helps with that. We've heard a lot from players that have not been in the team about how he deals with things. Terminology he uses, uses the term finisher for substitutes. Little things like that matter, because it makes you feel part of things. So he's going to have a tough job, balancing the squad and a lot of egos and people who've been bought for a lot of money. That I'd say two players in every position think they're going to walk into the team because they've had money spent on them and good money. So it's going to be a tough job. But there's still going to be that period where we've seen the starting 11. I think with these new players, particularly tomorrow, I think you might see a similar team, very, very similar. There might be one or two injury concerns, but I think you're going to see an almost identical team to last week. And why wouldn't you? We won. We're probably playing a team tomorrow who are not as good as West Ham, even though it's not on our pitch. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on Everton to come out, which might help the likes of Brennan Johnson. That's his game, isn't it? If teams are coming at us, we like to then hit them on the break and get in around the back. Again, I see the lineup that started against West Ham was kind of ideal for that as well. Nico sort of running all over the pitch, playing balls into Tyro to hold up. But I'd imagine the bench will be full of new players as well, reinforcements. And if it's not going particularly well, we all know that Gibbs, White and Dennis, if they've not got any knocks, they're practically match fit. Yeah. So them two I'd expect to feature at some point tomorrow. I'm not sure with the guys who've come from abroad, but I just think it, like you said, Dor, what a great problem to have. And when you come to sort of picking a team, I can't do it now.
I can't do it. I tried to. You know what? I tried to do like I was on a channel and I tried to pick up. What team do you think I'll play? I don't know. I've not got a foggiest clue what Cooper, because we know what Cooper's like. You'll see in press conference, his player's injured, his player's doubtful. He starts.
I think what you will see is surprising changes at times. Players that have played particularly well, you might miss out the next game. Again, it's a squad game, isn't it? And with the type of players we've got, he's got more choices. He's got better quality available in the Championship. Despite the fact we had a good team in the end for the Championship, good loan signings. There was no depth, was there? There was no second 11. It was all about the 11 players on the pitch, and then after January, one or two subs. Whether it was Surridge or Davis in the attacking positions, or Garner or Yates or somebody in midfield. They're not at the level they're at now. They've got really, really good players that they can interchange and swap. I'd imagine the way last season went, in the fact he likes to stay with the same team. He likes to, if it works, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'd imagine after last week we might see it, but then after that, the team might just evolve a little bit and you'll start to see another brand new team.
Before I get Molly
I think the intensity is important. Sorry, Ben. I said I think the intensity of the way we played last week is going to not invite, that's the wrong word, but there's probably going to be a few more muscular type injuries this season than we had last year as well. Because we had lots of injuries, didn't have lots of injuries. We're quite lucky overall with injuries, and also when we lost our left back, obviously Colback was superb, which meant we only had the midfield two. If either of them had got injured, we were struggling. But I think the intensity of what we've seen already in the Premier League, whether it be 90 minutes of kind of backs to the wall like at Newcastle, or coming out the traps flying at West Ham, the high level of intensity, there's probably going to be more injuries. Short injuries, but there could be, and there's required in certain positions, especially. Even though I can't see anyone taking Nico Williams' place any time soon, but he covers every blade of grass, didn't he, last week? To be fair.
It was funny, like you just mentioned Nico Williams. I said, me and Des was raving about Kearney. Like he played good in pre-season, didn't he, Des? And Nico Williams, like another fantastic performance against West Ham on Sunday. And I think, like I said, it's a good problem to have. And people in the comments, like I said, get involved as well. Like we've got good players. Like I said, one player. Like I said, I keep forgetting that we've got Dennis. We've got Dennis as well, the striker. Morgan Gibbs White. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like I said, when we got Brennan. If Brennan doesn't play well, we can swap him. If Taiwan doesn't play good, he can swap him. Lingard doesn't play good, we can swap him. It's a good problem to have, and it's crazy. And I said, I keep saying this, I keep repeating this. After 12 months ago, me and Des went Stoke away. One of the worst games I've ever been to. And now we're talking about we're going to Everton away tomorrow. We go, and we're getting players like we've got Dean Henderson, Jesse Lingard, Morgan Gibbs White. Fantastic signings for Forest, man. Right, I'm just going to go through the comments. This is from Nick Williams. Is good to see him playing before. Amazing signing for us. Like Des mentioned, a fantastic signing for us. Does anyone know the kit number for Dennis and Canute? I don't know. Do Des or do you know any numbers?
I've lost track completely.
I can't remember them. I saw them. There is a listing on the Forest Twitter or somewhere like that. But
people go on Forest website.
Tell you what number they're not. Number 10.
Definitely, Morgan Gibbs White is number 10. People, if you want, just go on the website. Here it is. Dennis is 25 and Canute is 21.
I forgot about Kouyaté as well. Amazing. I forgot about Kouyaté. He kind of came under the radar a little bit, didn't
exactly. He? You know what it is? It's just so like Canute is underrated. Premier experience is valuable.
Do you know what I think he might be? I know this is about Morgan Gibbs White. I get the feeling he might be the new Cafu.
So Des has confirmed it. Des is getting rid of Cafu. I love Cafu.
I'm not getting rid of Cafu. I love Cafu. Keep him
forever.
No.
So he said that people click this. Des said he's getting rid of Cafu.
I just think he might be the enforcer, the finisher. The finisher of a game. Somebody to come on, shore things up. He can play. We're led to believe he can play at the back, although I've never seen it myself. But at the back or in midfield, sort of deep lying, I think he might be the guy who comes on and sort of when we're winning 1-0, 2-0 maybe, and tries to tie things up.
I think he's a better player than that, to be honest, Des, if he's still fully fit. Because I know I don't know his injury.
Mono, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Very good player.
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but look at the options we've got instead.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that. Not because I think he's not very good. It's because look what's in front of him.
There's 283 people.
Walked into our team, but don't know what he's like now.
There's 283 people in. Thank you for everyone for watching. I'm just going through the comments. And we mentioned the midfield is so overpacked, and that's Marlowe. People have mentioned. I saw Ryan Yates. The picture of him training today, and I love Ryan Yates. Like he did so much for us last season, scored 9 goals for us. But I've got to say it, he's going to struggle innit, to get in that midfield because we brought class. I'm not saying it because, like I said, we're in the Premier League and like Canute experience with West Ham and Crystal Palace. O'Brien did fantastic for Huddersfield. Who else we got? Who's the Atlanta player? He's the dictator. If you want.
Mangala.
Mangala. Colback.
You know about Froyer, the conductor.
Froyer, that's it. Froyer. Another. We've got so much midfielders to pick. And Ryan Yates, he's going to struggle. I want him to play. But we never know. Ryan Yates could play. I hope he plays. But...
Can I say something on Yatesy, though? He might have to bide his time because of his injury, but I'll predict once he gets in that team, he'll stay in the team. And that's it's kind of the, it's the way he is, isn't it? I don't mean that. Obviously, he's going to have to bide his time because he's been injured. He's got to get himself fit. And then if the guys are doing well, he's got to earn his place. He knows that more than anyone. He's a professional. But I just feel he's the sort of guy and the sort of character and the sort of player. Once he's in that side, it'll be very hard to dislodge himself. I think he'll step up.
This is the thing that we just give him a chance. I think, like I said, if you've got to give Yates a chance, but like I said, he's injured, but at the same time,
I can assure you, Dore, Ryan Yates will play in the Premier League. I'm not sure how much, because again, he's got the biggest battle he's ever had in that position. He's not fighting with some of the players he has done before. He gets a long way on his work rate and he's the way he gets himself about. He has got ability. I think it's underestimated. It's undervalued because he does throw himself around and get in front of things. That doesn't necessarily make you a bad footballer. But again, it's the levelling up, isn't it? The levelling up process that's taken place. He's going to find it a real struggle.
100%. We'll just go for the comments. How you doing, Mark? Good evening, mate. And this
interesting. I think the way you read the game. Oh.
Sorry, guys. Say that again, Marlo. Say that again.
Sorry, I think Yatesy reads the game a lot better than people give him credit for as well. I think he's not a flashy footballer. We know that. I think he reads the game a lot better in the last sort of 12 months, especially, than people give him credit for. Hence why he was able to do such a good job at times when he had to step into the back four or back three, should I say? I think, and he just, I know it was just a bit of a makeshift midfield at that point, but he certainly would have made a difference at Newcastle in that type of game. And there'll be plenty of them games this year, I suspect, away from home. And as I say, Des is right. His work rate and everything goes without saying. I think he's a better player than people used to give him credit for. We know that, and he now gets that credit. As I say, once he gets into that starting 11, which I'm sure he will at some point with injuries and everything, he'll take some dislodging.
100%. Before I get to talk on, I got two super chats, and this is from Kieran. Ryan Yates will play games. Remember, he's vice captain for good reason. 100%. I think, like I said, we mentioned about we brought in 16 players in. I know we've got Cook. He's an experienced player as well. But in the Premier League, and we need people who know the club. And this is why 100% Joe Worrell is the captain. Ryan Yates is a vice captain as well. So you've got to get players who know the club, who knows the city, and that knows the people as well. So I think.
Can we update the song, though? If Yatesy plays, we're in the trend.
That is a good one. That's a good one. There's no point. Thank you very much, Chris. How you doing, Chris? Chris is a legend. He's been on my show from day dot. This guy's a legend. Shout out to Chris. Chris, I need you on my show, Chris, because this guy's been watching my channel for nearly 5 years, I think, since I've just started. So, Chris, if you can, message me on Twitter. I want this guy on my show. So, shout out, thank you for the £1.99, Chris. This is from Norm. Good luck for tomorrow games. I hope you guys are back. Thank you very much. Stuart, anyone feeling bad for? No. Sorry, I don't know why I clicked on that. I clicked on the wrong one.
They've won a couple of games.
Yeah, no one cares. But this is from Ian. If needed, Yates can play in the back three as well. You can. Remember, if you do remember, Yates did play in that back three sometimes a role. I think, what game was it? I think it was, when we talked about 2-0, and I think he played in that alongside Worrell and McKenna, and then it didn't work. He pushed himself up in that midfield role. So Yates can play there, so it's not a problem here. A Wolves fan here. Really hope Morgan does well. He's class, young, hungry, homegrown player. And those Wolves fans will miss him. I think, like I said, if you remember, like I said, when they beat us 4-1 and he scored a good goal, really good goal. And I think, like I said, was listening to the Wolves manager his press conference and said he's young, talented. They didn't want to get rid of him, but
do you know what he does, Dor? He takes up really difficult positions to get hold of him. You know, I watch again. I'm always the first to say I don't watch all these clips, but I've seen some stuff on Sky Sports News today, and he kind of sits in little pockets and he gets the ball and players surround him. He does a turn or a trick, you know, and he plays it into somebody. He plays it off. He makes a run. He gets into the box. The ball drops, like in the semi-final in front of the Bridgeford stand. The ball comes across. Who's on the end of it? You know, he's probably just done something 40 yards behind him. And what people don't appreciate when they're talking about value for money and players of this expense is the work they put in off the ball as well. You know, such a clever, intelligent footballer who he can drop a shoulder and take 3 players out of a game with a bit of skill. He can shoot, he can score, but he also makes intelligent runs, pops up on the edge of the box, almost like the old-fashioned box-to-box midfielder. You know, he's not too dissimilar. The game's changed from all that kind of thing, but he gets in there. Steve Hodge used to show up on the penalty spot, and that's the kind of player that I think you're getting with Morgan Gibbs. Obviously, a lot more of an athlete and a lot more technical, but again, it's the work they put in to get into positions, and that's where people will say, oh, well, he's not worth it because he scored 10 goals. You know, that's not worth 45 million quid. But there's a bit more to football these days, isn't there? We've seen it with Davis last season. Davis come with a crap scoring record, goes away an absolute cult hero, you know, because he scored 4 goals. But the impact he had on the rest of the team and what he did.
100%. I've got a super chat before I get Marlo in. Hi, guys. I agree with Kieran. Yates will be in the team. Lads, fantastic energy, and we'll run box to box all games. And this is what I like about Yatesy, because, like I said, I've been a massive fan with Yatesy since I think it was he went on loan to Notts County and Scunthorpe and
Notts County.
Yeah, and he's progressed so well, been in Premier League. And like I said, when Maranaka said he wants to make new history, and it's, who doesn't want new history? Like, we want to go to Europe. I want to go on tour. I want to go to some different kind of country that I don't know we never heard of before. Who doesn't? And we're getting good players. We're getting good players, and it's still like it's hard to say this sometimes. Like me saying this, like I still got to pinch myself. We're talking about Premier League. We're going to Amala. We're going to Everton tomorrow. Everton. We're not going to Stoke away. We're going to Everton away. No disrespect to Stoke. I've just got bad memories. I've got bad memories of Stoke away, that's all. But please don't shoot me, please. If people want to know, go and watch the Stoke game. It was horrible.
You know, something just popped into my head, though, about the figure, 25 million. If you'd have seen Carvalho on that pitch at Stoke, who cost us 15 million, Morgan Gibbs-White is worth 150 million.
Yes,
Carvalho on that pitch at Stoke was an absolute disgrace.
It was.
You played better in the stand. We were more off-putting for Stoke.
People, like I said, after the stream, if you want to know like I said, it was 12 months ago. Go and watch it. It was it was the Stoke game and the Middlesbrough game. Don't do it. Don't do it. But it was horrible.
I got PTSD still from that Middlesbrough game.
Marlon, did you go to the Stoke game?
Yeah.
Marlon, did you go to the Stoke? Did you go? Oh, people, that was.
We didn't have a shot, did we?
No, and
if I remember right, we didn't even have a shot.
Yes, but why are we talking about it? We're talking about Morgan Gibbs. Why, for God's sake? Why are we talking about it?
I was just putting it into some context, the fee.
Right, before, like I said, there's 50 minutes gone. We've got another 10 minutes before we go. Another super chat from Claire. Very excited to see Morgan Gibbs-White. See you guys tomorrow. Shout out to Claire. Thank you for the £1.79. And I'll see you tomorrow with your son. This is my big guy, Curtis Shaw. Yes, bro, I think he can beat Everton tomorrow. I hope you do sign a Warner. He's a magic footwork. Which player will you sell now? Shout out to Curtis Shaw. Like I said, he'll be on the channel soon. Big Arsenal fan. So people as well. Go and subscribe to Curtis Shaw. Top guy. Last time we came on, we beat your Curtis. I had to say Curtis. We beat you 1-0. But shout out to Curtis, my bro. We'll see you at the end of When we got Arsenal again, it's the end of November, isn't it? No, October, November. One of the two. I think it's October. See you soon,
I
Curtis.
remember.
So yeah, but yeah, well, let's talk about. Like I said, we don't even mention. Like I said, I've lost my players that we've got. Like, we brought in 4 players since then. I know. I saw on Twitter, like I said, if you win a game, you stick with the same team. And people in the comments as well, get involved. Would you stick with the same team? I know it might be 1 or 2 changes, but in your head, right? If there's no one injured, would you stick with the same team, even if you have put the 4 players in?
I think so. Because again, football's about a lot of things, isn't it? Whilst it's about ability, and star players and this and that, it's also about confidence, commitment. Those guys felt the City ground last week. Felt what it was all about. Felt what it was like to play for the club and win. They'll experience a better away crowd tomorrow than what. Not because the crowd's better necessarily, but Newcastle, we was away up in the gods, weren't we? We're like seeing Everton, whatever atmosphere they've got. But we've got no doubts about that. So they'll experience the following as well and see how many people actually go on the road. And I think, there's something to be said about a team who's had to dig out a result and grind out. I mentioned a couple of times this week when I spoke on Monday on the show I do. There was a point in the second half where I just felt, I don't know what it was. It was almost like Worrell and McKenna had an extra half second on the ball, for all the intensity, because it was in your face. I was out of breath in the crowd, looking at it. But they almost felt like there was a point for me where they'd arrived. It almost felt like midway through the second half, we had that nervy patch with the 2 that hit the crossbar. Henderson did that save. I think that settled a lot of nerves. And from that point, I think we got confidence in we was never going to lose that game. And I think if the players can sort of feed off that, take that into the next game, the shirt's there to be lost, isn't it? With so many quality players around, we could all pick a brand new 11 and it could go out and win, because we think it's full of quality. But for tomorrow, I would go with it. There's 1 or 2 areas of the pitch. I'm sure I don't need to speak for Steve Cooper, but I saw 1 or 2 things. Taiwo did a fantastic job in holding the ball up. My personal opinion was his footwear up to scratch. I'm not quite sure. Dennis is probably a better option long term. But again, I'm writing somebody off before they've even got going, and I shouldn't do that. I'd like to see him get another chance, prove me wrong, prove any doubts from the murmurings we've heard over the season. Brennan Johnson, if he goes there and scores the winning goal tomorrow, he's expelled all that crap that people have been spouting, hasn't he? So it's just a case. It's easy to target people who've not scored or assisted when we've only scored 1 goal in 2 games. Not many people have scored and assisted in that period. So it'd be easy to label. I'd like to see him get another go. And then, because let's face it, Everton are going to be a rival, aren't they? In the grand scheme of things, we'd imagine Everton are going to be in and around us. If we're safe, they'll probably be just safe, because that's what happens. These big clubs tend to stay up. Or they could be right in the bottom 3 with us. That's what we could imagine. So, again, it'll be a test of how these players can perform against that type of team. What I would do personally is load the bench up. Load the bullets for if it's not going so well, if we need to change it. I don't think even not just in this game, in many games throughout the season, he's going to make many defensive changes. We've seen Niakate go off, which I think didn't look too promising after he tried to go again. So I think we might see a more familiar back 3 with Cook included. But other than that, I think you've got your attacking players, you've got intent, and now it's for them to go and keep the shirt. And if they don't do the business, it's a hard world. But
yeah, it is.
As somebody like Ryan Yates and Jack Colback's going to find out, they've gone from first names on the team sheet to probably having to work the way through the system again, just for misfortune. So it'll be really interesting. But yeah, I think I'd go with the same team. If it's not working after 60 minutes, we make 3 substitutions in attacking positions, and then you've still got 2 more. You know,
exactly.
Don't get me on that one about subs, but you still got 2 more to come on, so you've got that insurance.
Yeah. Do you echo what Des says, Molo?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't change the starting lineup at this point. And other than injury, I think I'll be very surprised if Niakati's fit to play. Looked like he got a hamstring there, didn't it? But that's not a big problem because Cook was superb when he came on, and we looked. I know I'll get slated for this, but when I watched the game back on TV, Antonio seemed to almost not exactly bully, but he seemed to get the better of Niakate a lot, and Niakate got bailed out quite a lot by other players. And there was one time he turned him and got a shot off that was blocked. So I'm not too worried. I think Cook for Niakate it's not like for like in terms of the player, but in terms of the sort of defensive solidity, I think it would just be the same. I definitely wouldn't change the midfield or attack at this point. I slightly disagree with Des on the Taiwo thing. I thought he had a decent game. There was a couple of times near the end of his time on the pitch where he was fatigued and his feet kind of didn't seem to, his brain didn't seem to know what his feet were doing. But I think that was sheer tiredness, to be fair. And he needed his goal in beautifully.
Molo, I didn't say he was bad. I just said his footwear in that game weren't up to scratch.
Oh, footwear. I thought you said footwork.
Footwork. I just didn't think he was up to scratch. I just, in that game, it might have been a couple of bobbles, getting used to the pace of the game. I thought he played really, really well in what he had to do.
Molo, I think someone disagrees with you like this.
Yeah,
this
fair
one.
comment. I thought
is it DoreOnTour slate him? Niakate had to turn it in his back pocket. Someone disagrees with you there.
I thought that when I was at the game. It was only when I watched it back and saw how many times he bullied him, basically, turned him or whatever, and there was just no end product because he had no one there supporting him, did he? And I'm not saying he had a bad game because it was a real proper physical battle between 2 very, very athletic physical specimens. But I was just surprised how many times he actually did get the better of him when I watched it back. And everyone was raving about it, and I'm thinking, without McKenna's block, that shot he turned might have, probably wouldn't have beat Henderson on that day, to be fair. But if had Henderson, would have had more work to do. I'm not slating him. I'm just saying he looked better at the game in my head because he's fast and he got some good headers in. But he struggled, understandably, with the 50-50 headers off the long ball off the keeper as well. But then so would anyone, I guess, against Antonio. But he certainly didn't have Antonio in his pocket. Anyone who's saying that knows jack about football because watching it back, he got turned 2 or 3 times. And once you get turned, then you're in trouble, aren't you? And it's just the case that West Ham didn't have the support up with him, so they didn't hurt us, or other defenders did, dug him out. But yeah, people could say that, I suppose. Definitely, that's not having someone in your pocket. When they don't have them in your pocket, they don't get a kick, do they? So that's my reply to that.
Well, like I said, this topic is about Morgan Gibbs-White. Like I said, Forest signed him. If you don't know if we have, we've signed him at last. After, I think, I knew a long time ago we were going to sign him. It is what it is. But we signed him. People in the comments as well. Do you think Morgan Gibbs-White will be successful? We know he's played under Cooper with England under 17s, Swansea, don't think wherever it was. Guys, like I said, people in the comments get involved. The last one before we do go. Do you think he'll be successful with Forest? Because, like I said, we've got a strong side, and Cooper can get the best out of him. He's done well under him for Swansea, but again, he's with him. Do you think he can get the best out of him again?
I think he can. I really do. That's I've spoken a lot over the summer. I've spoke about it tonight. He fits. He seems to fit, doesn't he? And that's a big thing. If he fits the system, if he fits the mentality straight away, that gives him every chance of slotting straight in. don't get me wrong, if it don't work from the off, we've got to stick with it. It does. Big fees don't necessarily mean big things. We've seen lots of clubs sign players for a lot more money that have ended up big flops, and not every signing is going to work out at every club. But I think with the relationship he's got, with Cooper, perhaps with one or two of the players playing around youth setups and things like that, I think he's got every chance to go on. And hopefully, if he hits the ground running, like most players, if they do well in the first couple of games, and I've seen Gibbs White play in the Premier League this season a couple of times, and he always seems to be in it. That's what I've liked about him when he's played for Wolves. Whilst he's not necessarily been the main man in it all, he's been in it, in every build-up. And if he gets a good, solid couple of performances in, I think he can really take that on. And then he starts making a difference with some of these technical players like Johnson and Dennis, maybe. When he starts linking up with people like that, that's when you're going to see the real Morgan Gibbs White, I believe.
100%. Molo, what do you think?
Yeah, echo that. I think you've got to define success as well. There's going to be some out there thinking, we've spent all this money, he needs to do this and do that and do the other. But I think if he's an important cog in a team that's done really well this season and stayed up as well, but maybe even a bit better than that, 13th, then that is a success. And I think he will do well. I think there's too much riding on it. And Cooper's been so determined that's the player he wants. There's reasons for that, and Cooper knows a lot more than I do. So I'm sure he'll be a success.
100%. He's gone. I think he's not been paying his bill, so I ain't got a clue. Right, I'll ask one more thing. Like I said, we brought in 16 players in. People in the comments like, is he come back in? I didn't even come back in.
Back, sorry. I don't hear that.
So, yeah, pay your bill.
Short version, bill. I'm sure. It's because that laptop didn't work. I'm on the phone.
Right, before we do go,
I'm convinced it'll be a success.
Yeah. Right, before we do go, people, like I said, we brought in 16 players in.
New laptop tomorrow.
And ask the panel, Des and Molo, how many players else we need to bring in? I think it was the main guy who always said Forest bring players in. What's his name, Des or Molo? What's his name?
Fabrizio Romano.
That's him. He said after Morgan Gibbs White, it's not over. It's not over. So people in the comments, how many players do you think we need to bring in? I'm not saying nothing. Let me ask Des, how many players do you think we need in and what position?
I don't know is the answer. I'm not Steve Cooper, because on the face of it, it looks like we've brought an awful lot of players to play in not as many positions. But at the start of the summer, we was thinking we was going to be having half of last season's team in there, and the reality is we haven't. So I'm not entirely sure. But every time we've heard Steve Cooper speak, even until right up before Morgan Gibbs White, I've not seen him speak since Morgan Gibbs White, to be honest. He said he needs more players. We need more players. That's been his comment. We need more players. And if he believes he needs more players, he believes he needs more players, doesn't he? I still wouldn't be surprised to see Garner, because he's not going anywhere. He doesn't seem to be going anywhere else, does he? Very quickly. If he was up for sale, there's takers, and nobody seems to be making good, solid bids.
Everton have made are looking for him. Look at him.
But he's not gone there, has he? So I won't say that one's dead in the water. And then, of course, the guy from Leon, who everybody's excited about. And again, it just brings in an array of class, doesn't it? All over the place. You're talking about Foyer, Morgan Gibbs White, and Aoya, or however you say his name. That's an incredible trio of players, compared to, again, I don't want to dwell, but Carvalho, Diaz.
He's gone. Get over it, Des. He's gone back.
But the point is, Dor, it's the quality, isn't it? I said right at the start of the window, I've said it for the last 12, 15, 24 months. Sign better players than what you've already got. if you're going to make a signing, sign better players than that's already there. Because it does two things. It improves your team straight away, but it also improves the players that need to compete with them to get in the team. You know, you've got competition. You've got people learning from the best. Imagine Ryan Yates learning from not necessarily Mangala. Mangala's young, but from an O'Brien who's been around 4 or 5 years longer. Do you know what I mean? Foyer, you know, watching the way they train, the way they pass, that kind of thing. Imagine the knock-on effect of that. And I just think if there's better players, you know, again, we're led to believe that they'll go for them. So I don't know where we need to improve. I'd imagine next window and next summer that the attention might return to the back again. Because if you look at the balance of the team now, the team that's got us up is the back, which I feel is I love those guys back there. But when you look at who's coming in at the front and the valuation, we might see something different. But I don't expect that during this window.
Marlo, how many players do you think we bring in? People in the comments, get involved. There's no one saying they're doing the test. They don't know how many players. What position is that?
One more.
What position?
Front three. Front three. So more. If we bring one in, it'll be front three. There we go.
Right.
Right. What do you think, though? Because one thing none of us can do is second guess what they're focusing on.
Me personally, right? Right, I can say it. One player. If we get, I saw it in the comments. Where is it? He's read my mind. Where is it gone? Sorry, people. There's one player. If we get him, I'll go nuts. There
it's not how we are, too, is it?
Gappo is the main priority. What I seen, and Mitch, what's the name of the guy again? He said, Forest is the main person that Forest want. I saw him play against Rangers in the UEFA Cup. I think it was last week. If we get him, European football, here we come. Because if you look, I'm not lying. You can screenshot this. I think he's a class player. When I seen him play against Rangers, I thought, nah, we're not getting him. And I'm hearing if Manchester United want him as well. That's if they don't get someone else. So they're using him as a plan B. But if we get him, I'm saying we're going to get top 10 because he's a class player. He's young, and Cooper can get the best out of him. Well, that's my opinion, people.
You've just dropped 2 places because you said we were getting into Europe.
We are. No, I've gone up to.
No, you said top 10 after that.
Oh, okay. Always one will do it. If we get that player, well, I can't pronounce his name. How do you pronounce his name? Gopo, whatever you want to call it. If we get Gapo, whatever you want to call it. If we get him, I think he's a class player. I really think. But I said, Smo said he is the main target now after we brought Morgan Gibbs White. Just saying. But Cooper is the man. Right, people, we'll get going because all 3 of us are going to Everton tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Right, before we go, I tell you, I look forward to Everton away.
Absolutely, Dor. How much have I been stressing about this one? This has been the one, you know. I told this story a few times, but I've never been to Everton because the only time I have ever given a Forest ticket away was when I was a student, and I gave it away when Alan Rodgers scored under Ron Atkinson. We went down that year, but we won 1-0.
Oh, that was a game. 97-98 season.
And that is the only time I have ever given a Forest ticket away, which I'd planned to go to. And we won, and I thought I'd miss out because I didn't expect us to get promoted. Then when we got promoted, I'm not sure about a ticket. And of course, next season, or perhaps the season after, they'll be moving stadium. So I'm so glad because it's the only ground in the top 2 divisions I've not been to.
Same. Yeah. Well, Tottenham. New
I've been to Tottenham.
I can't wait. I can't wait to go Spurs as well. Molo, you looking forward to Everton tomorrow?
Very much so. Having finally got an away ticket on the stupid system, but we won't go there. No, I can't wait. Can't wait.
No. Don't pipe Des off because you mentioned that Des will have another hour show, and we're going to Everton tomorrow. We don't need another more problems.
I don't know how I got one for Grimsby, and I could feel myself getting more tense as the refreshing was clicking.
But yeah, excitement tomorrow at Everton. I'm going as well. I've got a big sit Des. So people in the comments, are you going to Everton tomorrow? Like I said, we're going to see Morgan Gibbs-White. We're going to see Dennis. We're going to see who else was signed this week. I've lost count how many players we've brought in. Yeah, it is mad. But yeah, people, it's been another great show. Part 2 of the show as well. If you've not saw part 1, I was with Everton fan Mike. He was talking about how Everton are really in a really bad place. So if you do want to watch that, make sure you do watch this after the show.
Can you imagine being in a bad place and going to get Frank Lampard as your manager?
Oh, see, listen, don't go for me, people. If any Everton fans want to go at Des, he's on Do Daily. Go and subscribe to Do Daily. Have a go at him. Don't come for me because I'm not guilty. I like
Everton's always been in a bad place, hasn't it? It's in Liverpool.
It's always in Liverpool. Ooh. So people, again, if people want to go for Marlow, go on Facebook, add him, destroy him. I'm not getting involved. but yeah, people, like I said, subscribe to me, subscribe to Mr. Do Daily. His descriptions are in his link are in the description. Cannot wait. I don't know if we have to do the review show tomorrow. What? Either tomorrow or Sunday night. So I don't know when I'll do it. Des has got a show as well on Monday night. People, I should say, like I said, if you're a member to my show, can you please email me if you haven't been on my show? If you have been on my show, or you haven't been on my show and you are a member, please message me so you can come on and talk about Forest like Des will do on Monday's show. I know we've got Grimsby on Tuesday, but it's Des' show, so you can talk about.
What we'll say, Dor, is that everybody's welcome to come on. Just come on and queue up. You know, it's really easy. Hit the link, sit in behind, and I'll get you on. It's brilliant, you know, doing it and hearing people's different opinions. It's a chance to talk about Forest, and that's what we all love, isn't it? So absolutely anybody, get on at 9 o'clock. We'll do 90 minutes.
And the queue system works way better than that rubbish ticket system for away games.
Right, I'm going now, people. Right, here we go. Right, people, I'll see. You took me off the spot, Marlo. Blood, dear. Right, people, go. Thank you very much. If you can, before you do leave, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Des, and I'll see everyone at Everton tomorrow. Peace and love.
We'll sign who we want. We'll sign who we want. We're Nottingham Forest. We'll sign who we want.
Peace out.